We are in Suffolk. I won't say any more than that. With a fantastic gentleman, Mr. Andy or Andrew. Andy Raw. Now, going back over the years, obviously, I knew Andy on the track with VW and the VW Sportsman and that sort of stuff. So, what's your history? I mean, bearing in mind with the VW World, 1938 was the first ever Volkswagen Beetle, and
wow,
yeah, which obviously you wouldn't have been
no,
involved, but so going back into the Volkswagen World, so 1938, and then the Beetle finished about 2003 or something like that.
Yeah, in Europe I think it was.
So now you've got, we'll talk a bit more. The Nitro Bug, nostalgia, funny car.
Well, I mean, I started with the VW DRC, and that was like 2001 in the alternative class. I run a it was a Volkswagen Beetle, no remorse, that I put a Subaru engine in. So we needed a class, and we had a demo class running, which was really good. Good times, good VW DRC got there a good crack, good club as well.
With that, okay, so it was a different class demo. So, was it only VW meetings that you went to, VW Action, VW Bug Jam and so on, or did you go out to other race meetings?
No, we went to other race meetings. I started in I started in Sportsman with a Beetle. Yeah. That's where I started. I started right at the bottom.
That's VW Sportsman, yeah?
No, Sportsman, SPRC Sportsman, that's where I started.
Right, yeah, okay. Yeah. And so you were in there with the likes of Ian Jackson and all them, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then we went, and then I wanted to join the VW DRC, but there wasn't a class for me to race in because they had to have the original engines in them.
Yeah.
And then there was a group of people that had got VW based cars, but without VW engines in them. There was enough of us to make a class up. So I went to the AGM meeting to meet the VW DRC, and we managed to get a demo class running. And there were some really cool cars in that demo class as well. And that's kind of what got me started into drag racing as with a club.
Yeah, so obviously that was the start of it all. I mean, obviously you used to, you're not, impartial to building the thing. Did you build your first car?
Built my first car, the no remorse car. Built that from the ground up really. Like I say, it was a brilliant car. We had a right laugh with it. It was a good bit of fun. It was a learning curve as well, but it got me my foothold into drag racing with that car.
Back in the day, in those days, the early 2000s, they were good days. They were, everything was just right at the time, wasn't it? Not saying it's not right now, but at the time that was special.
It was. Camaraderie was good. The clubs were good. It suited me at the time what I wanted to do basically, and like I say, it was very competitive. Very competitive. And obviously we had like Bug Jam, which was the pinnacle of for the club, was the pinnacle of the drag racing season.
And of course you'd love the parties.
Absolutely. Yeah. The partying was pretty cool. Yeah, definitely.
And so obviously you moved on a little bit from Sportsman, and I guess, was you getting the adrenaline buzz there in the early days, or has it sort of grown with you?
Well, to tell you the truth, I think the first time you ever go down that track, I had a Beetle that I'd built as a road legal Beetle with an air-cooled engine, and a friend said to me one time, we was at Bug Jam, I weren't racing, I weren't into drag racing at the time, and he just said to me, why don't we take it down the track? And pretty much I took it. There was a run what you brung at Bug Jam, Saturday afternoon, sun was shining, borrowed a crash helmet, took it down the track. I think it ran like 16s, but that was it. That one run was the start when I thought, this is what I want to do. This is me. This is a bit of me. And that for me, back in the day then, 1999, I think it was 1998. I thought this is what I want to do. This is a bit of me. This is going to be, this is going to be good, and that's where it all started for me for drag racing.
So
really.
going on from sportsman, your next class then was the alternate class.
Yep. So I went sportsman, SPRC sportsman. Then I went VW Pro with no remorse, and then I kind of went as far as I wanted to go with that car. And then I decided that I wanted to build a funny car, and that's where the TSR funny car came from, the orange and black one.
Yeah, yeah.
And I originally started. I put a V8 in that, Alki V8 in it, and then I ended up buying Spencer Tram's 555 out of the Corrado, and we put that in it. And then also I ended up, it weren't Spencer's engine, sorry. I ended up buying his torque converter off him. It's not his engine. I had Martin Kirbysley's engine in it, and that was on a single carb, alcohol carb. And I ended up kind of developing that, and then from that I bought Martin Jones's engine out of his dragster. And we had a Kessler injection system in it on alcohol, which was really cool. Sitting out of the front of a Beetle, on the front of a Beetle funny car, it looked really, really cool. And then I always wanted a blown car, and that's basically how I met Carl Harrison.
Yeah.
Was I had an Alki blown? He persuaded me to go blown, and that's when we put the 555 in it. With a supercharger on it, and it was a good car. It was a handful. It was a proper handful. It was what we call a crowd pleaser.
It was a bit of a snaky run.
It was a very snaky run. A lot of the times I didn't have any wheels on the ground, either 3 or maybe 2 sometimes, but it was a fun car to drive.
Yeah.
I had a lot of good times in that, and I raced it in Super Pro ET, which is a fantastic class.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We were just talking about, your nemesis.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic class. And obviously I ended up with the Harrison family, with Rod Harrison, with his dragster that eventually went on to Top Methanol.
Yeah.
And we went for the ride with the Top Methanol, which was fantastic. A massive learning curve as well.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really good. It kind of gave me a foothold into kind of the next step, really. In fact, it was when we were sitting in the pits, and there was all of us that crewed on Rod's dragster, and that's when we decided to build the Nitro Bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the spark came from for the Nitro Bug, basically.
So I mean, obviously over the year you got to know a lot of the teams and the people, and Gary Page and that you spent a lot of time chatting to Gary, and then through the years, obviously then you've got some help with Roy and Jason and all that. Where did that sort of come about?
So
really?
with Roy and Jason, we decided to build the Nitro Bug.
Yeah.
And I went to Jason and Roy, and we had a chassis and we had a body, so we needed to put them together. So they were instrumental in basically helping us to put that car together.
Yeah.
And Roy's knowledge with obviously with Nitro funny cars goes back a long way. And I learnt a lot off Roy. He's a very clever guy, very, very clever guy. And but like I say, they were pretty much, FGR Motorsports were pretty much instrumental in getting the car right, with the body on it, and they did work on the chassis as well. Jason built a new set of wheelie bars for me. So yeah, I've known Jason and Roy quite a long time, and they've like I say, they've helped us a lot.
Yeah. And of course, Jason was in Gladiator, and then obviously you raced it on the Cannonball.
Yeah,
against Jason.
Yeah.
So the idea of a Volkswagen funny car is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it was always going to be a Beetle.
Yeah.
I wanted it was either going to be a Beetle or a Willis Coupe, but I couldn't afford a Willis Coupe.
No.
And at the time, I had a company, TSR Engine Conversions, that was VW based company, and I kind of wanted something that was going to open doors for me, with promoters at tracks, and no one had ever done it before. I mean, there is one in America that run, but nobody had ever built what we was decided that we was going to build. But it always really was going to be a Beetle. It really was going to be a Beetle, and it was kind of like the best thing we ever did, because not only can we race it at meetings, we can take it to lifestyle events. We can take it to static shows.
Yeah.
You know, I've had companies ring me up and they want it in their showroom when they're opening new VW showrooms up and stuff like that. So it always opens up doors. If you don't want to go racing, you've got the option of taking it to shows as well.
Yeah. With regards to the motor and everything in it, you're looking at roughly where, and I always remember the likes of Harlan, Gary, Spuff in them days as well, and the others, they all wanted to get into the 60s.
Yep.
So that's where roughly, I guess, it's the same sort of scenario now with the nostalgia.
Yeah, it pretty much is. I mean, yeah, the cars are loosely built. I mean, the Nitro Bug is an outlaw Nitro car. Yeah. It's a nostalgia outlaw car. Now, the difference between the outlaw car and the nostalgia Nitro funny car is we run a 44 mag.
Yeah.
We also run a bigger pump. So we went outlaw. But it's pretty much exactly the same as what Gary and Spuff run back in the day. Obviously, they didn't have 44 mags.
No.
They run smaller pumps.
Yeah.
But they all run around that 6. And that's where we want to be with the Nitro Bug. Maybe we dip into the 5s. But
is that your aim? You've been there, nearly.
No, the quickest I've run with it is 630s. Is the quickest I've run with it.
So not far.
We're not far. Well, it doesn't sound a lot
in the tuning side,
but it's a big old gap.
Big old jump, yeah.
But yeah, I've got some stuff. You know, they're my tick offs on the car. I want to run a 5, but I'm happy in the car running 6s. Low 6s. I mean, at the end of the day, the car, the shape of the car, I've got to be careful with it because the aerodynamics, everything's a little bit of an unknown with the car. So so far, touch wood, it's done what it's supposed to do, and it's been good. But obviously, the faster you go, the variables change on it. So it's a bit of an unknown. It always will be.
And then you have to start weighing as fast as you go with the chassis. And
it's not so much the chassis; it's the body shape.
Yeah.
It's but then they run a Land Rover, no Willis pickup in America into the 5s, so it can be done.
You've got the diesels out there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It can be done, but it's just one of them. You don't know until you try it. That's how it is.
Yeah. So, ticking the boxes for you then. Obviously with the Nitro Bug, amazing piece of kit. I just think it's great. People can go on YouTube and see all your stuff, going way back. And obviously, you're talking about doing the stuff with Roy and Jason and everything. So, every time you're getting in the car, whether it was the early doors, and then obviously with the Nitro, the gold and black car.
Yep.
Your adrenaline levels have changed, or are they harder now? Or
I mean, the first time I ever got in the Nitro Bug and run a full pass was. It was a massive thing to go from an alky blown car to a nitro funny car is a massive move. It is huge.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. And yeah, I mean, everyone's different. Everyone gets their buzz, their buzz differently. Mine's at the very. I pull the parachutes, and when I go across the line, I get my buzz. That's me.
You've done it, yeah.
That's me. I sometimes think I've made it to the end, and that's when I get my adrenaline buzz. Maybe that's the relief of getting to the end. I don't know, but you know, I done my first. I done a night run. My first night run was amazing. I only done a half pass, but to run at night in the pitch black.
Yeah.
That was a proper adrenaline thing.
Yeah, because I mean, all you can see is the lights on the tree, on the gantry at the end as well.
Well, so when I run my night run, they had the lights at the track, all the way down, all the way to the end of the quarter of a mile, and then you got your gantry. Well, after you go across the gantry, then it's absolutely pitch black, which was a bit of a scary situation to be in, but it was probably, that was one of the most adrenaline runs I've ever had.
Yeah, because you're looking for the off.
Yeah, I didn't know where that was. Couldn't see that. Couldn't see that until I nearly was there.
Yeah.
But it was, it was quite, that probably was one of the ones, the biggest ones. And then I had one at Bug Jam where it blew up at Bug Jam and caught fire at Bug Jam on a run. That was quite an adrenaline buzz.
Cool, yeah. But that's when all the kit starts to work properly. It
does, yeah, when all your safety equipment starts to work, and which was good. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things when you're talking about the body comes down, you're inside there. Mm-hmm. Now, talking to Dale Leeds, he said when the body goes down, it's quiet in there. But is that the same for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, really weird.
All the noise is on the outside.
Yeah. I mean, the first time I ever drove a funny car was the TSR, the orange and black one, and I sat in it, and we was in the lane, and Carly Harrison started it up, and he put the body down, and I thought there was something wrong with the car, and I switched it off.
Right.
And he was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Because I'd never been in the car, and they put the body down.
Body down, yeah.
And it is really, really weird, and it's kind of, especially with the Nitro Bug, it's obviously really loud when they fire it up, and then they put the body down, and it all goes quiet, and it's quite a surreal thing to be sat in it. But really, I'm very regimental with my driving. You kind of go, you go into a driving mode. You don't even see all the people.
No.
You just concentrate on what's going on, and you follow that guy religiously in front of you, watching you back.
Yeah.
And then you stop the car, you roll forwards, and then it gets checked, and then you go into stage, and then you go.
Yeah.
And it's pretty. I think that's probably why I get my buzz at the end. I don't get my buzz on the hit.
No, but that's because you're concentrating.
I'm just concentrating so hard on that bit of it, basically. Yeah.
Exactly. Now with drag racing, I guess it's the same in other motorsports as well. But the families and the team mean so much. They make it all
massively
together.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to have that team behind you.
Yeah.
You can't run a Nitro funny car just yourself. And we do make it a family thing. I mean, they don't come anymore because my kids have all grown up. But I used to always have my family at the track, my kids, and but then your crew end up being your family.
Yeah.
And I have that. I've always brought that with me, and that's through Rod Harrison and Kim Harrison, because that's how they used to run their team.
Yeah.
We was family. That's how it always was, and it was a family orientated, thing. And I mean, at the end of the day, what you got to think about is they do it for nothing.
Yeah.
We can't afford to pay them.
No.
So you've got to make it a happy medium for them, and they've got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't enjoy it, but it's not related to what you've done. It's just basically the meeting weren't very good, or things
of rain and stuff.
Yeah,
and
you know.
sitting
But at the
around
end of the day, we always walk away from a meeting with a smile,
Yeah.
and can't wait basically for the next
one.
meeting.
Yeah,
We can't wait for the next meeting.
Now, crew-wise, we were chatting beforehand. You've now got Jamie on board, Jamie Willis.
Yes, so Jamie Willis is on board with us.
Because he's done stateside as
Yeah,
well. Yeah,
yeah.
he was with Runa before then.
Yeah,
and
I mean, he crewed for Clay Milligan out in the States, and then he's been with Runa for a long time. He's obviously, he had the Gladiator car with Bridget driving it as well.
Yeah.
He's got his own Nostalgia Nitro Funny car, which he runs now as well. So he's come on board with us for this season.
Yeah.
He has helped us out before this season, and he'll be tuning the car for us. And then I've got Christian Carlo, who's the crew chief, and then I've just got the rest of the boys who crew on the car for me. Like I say, you know, it's a close knit team, which you've got to have. And you know, when they strap you in that car, you can't have any doubts at all. I don't. I just concentrate on what's going on
And what you've got to
and
do.
what I've got to do. But I know in the back of my head that if there was anything not right, they wouldn't be strapping me in the car.
Absolutely,
Exactly.
yeah. So now obviously you've got yourselves, you've got family, Lisa.
Yep.
Lisa Marie. Is there any Elvis connection with her?
No. My wife has been like the most patient person for the last 22 years with my drag racing. She puts up with a lot.
Yeah.
But she is my main sponsor, say.
Yeah.
She keeps me level-headed.
Support
is massive, and you need a good woman to help you with this. It's not just the help, it's the mental side of it as well.
Yeah.
She slows me down. I can be a little bit gun-ho, and I get the red mist, especially at the meetings. Sometimes I have to be reined in, and she's the only one that can do that for me, is to say, hang on, just slow down a little bit, and think. And she's kind of put up with it for a long time, and I know it's I get in the car and I race the car, and you know, when you're in it and you race it and you feel a little wiggle, and then you get to the top end, and then the crew turn up and they're all like, whoa, and
nice one, yeah.
And I can look at her eyes and I know it worried her.
Yeah.
You know, I had a couple of bad incidents, not bad incidents, but
even with the fire.
The fire really was not good for her. But at the end of the day, the Santa Pod are amazing, and the people that are there are amazing, and they help. Well, they let her come up to make sure I was all right. Because they don't let the crew up, but I think they were scared not to let her to come up. She came up on the back of a little motorbike once to make sure I was okay.
Yeah.
The rest of the crew weren't allowed up.
No.
And I got the heads up afterwards that they decided to let her come up. More for her, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, I'm very, very lucky with Lisa.
Yeah.
She lets me put up.
The strange thing is, that is my other half. Dave's here. That is my other half. Her name's Lisa.
Oh, right.
She's the one that reins me in.
Yep.
She's the one that's put up with a hell of a lot over the last 5 years with me. But she's always there.
Yeah.
So it must be something to do with Lisa's.
Oh, yeah, it probably is actually.
I'll bring her up and introduce her to her. Yeah, cool. She'll be exactly the same. You wouldn't stop my Lisa, would you?
No.
You know what I mean? And so, you know, and they're lovely, and that's the most important thing. If you've got that behind you,
Yeah.
And the care and everything else, it takes, you know, it's for them.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you can't knock that, can you?
No.
So what's your this season then? What are you looking forward to this season?
So this season we've changed what we was running from last season. We've moved to a new engine combination. We got a new blower. We've changed a lot on the car. So I think this year is going to be, we're going to run, we need to get the car sorted out first.
Yeah.
And then we will run it, probably, I want to be getting back into the sixes. That's my goal this year.
Yeah.
Is to get back to where we was before we had problems with our old setup.
Let's hope that Easter, that's your first one, isn't it?
We won't be able to make Easter, unfortunately.
Right, okay.
No, we're pretty much in the same boat as everyone else. Parts,
Yeah.
time,
Hmm.
money.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Because is there still? It's always been that way, but is there still a big problem in shipping stuff from the States
Yeah.
over to here, time-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to get worse. To be fair, yeah, I think it's going to get worse. It's definitely going to get more expensive, and that's going to be a stumbling block for a lot of people.
A lot of people, yeah.
It is with what's happening in America at the moment, where they're going to start raising the taxes,
and
so it's going to impact on us. But then that is drag racing. It's never been cheap. If you want to, if someone said to me once, if it turns a wheel, it's expensive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah,
It's like the tyres on the car. They're not cheap.
no, they're expensive. I think a new set of tyres now is about £1,500 on the back.
Well, we was talking about that, weren't we? Yeah.
Yeah, about 1,500. I mean, the big Showtime ones, I think they're like £2,500 for a set of tyres.
Yeah.
You can only buy the big ones off Goodyear as well. I mean, ours, there's like 3 or 4 different companies we can use. But, it's consumables, very, very expensive.
Absolutely. And in the same situation as the top end fuel funny cars, you're still rebuilding that car and everything.
Every single run.
When
it comes apart, it's got to be checked.
Spark plugs, everything.
Yeah.
That's all money. It's
Yeah.
everything.
And it can be something really, really cheap in the grand scheme of things, which can completely level a motor.
Yeah.
And cost you thousands and put you out, or finish you.
Yeah. And a 2-pod bit sometimes.
Yep. So you need to make sure that them bits are being checked that they're being replaced when it gets stripped after a run, and it goes back together.
So that's a wagon full of spares every time.
Yes. You need a lot of everything seems to, with fuel funny cars, doesn't matter if it's a nostalgia or a big Showtime car, pretty much everything's a consumable. I think the only thing that ain't is the chassis, but everything else, if it can break or it gets worn out, it's got to be replaced. So they are. You do need a lot, and you need the funds to be able to carry on going. Really
fantastic. So this year, then let's go into the sixes.
Yeah.
Obviously, won't see you at Easter. So then the one after that is the main event.
So what we're going to do, VW Breakout.
Yeah.
If we get all good with VW Breakout, there's a chance we could do the main event. But really, I think what we're really going to focus on this year will be Dragstalgia.
Yeah.
Obviously Bug Jam, because our sponsor Cool Flow are going to be there.
Yeah.
And then really, I mean, I always take my year at one meeting at a time.
Yeah.
If I grenade a motor, I haven't got the means to 3 weeks later be out with another to race again.
Motor,
So I've always took it that I'll do a meeting at a time and then see how we are. Touch wood, we can make the next meeting, but if we can't, it ain't the end of the world for me.
No. Are there other motors that you could get your hands on if you needed to over here?
No, they're
not really.
Not really, no.
Once it's gone, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's. I mean, they're. You got to buy it from America, really.
Yeah,
But you can buy them over here, but they're normally very, very expensive, or there's something wrong with them. It costs you a lot of money to get them fixed.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So looking forward to the season
Yeah.
and seeing you out there.
Yeah.
And the crew. What we're trying to do is we try and catch up with you either at one of the first meetings or halfway through the season or whatever.
Yeah.
We wish you all the best with it.
Yeah.
Andrew, it's been amazing.
Thank you.
Or
Thank you
Andy,
very much.
should I say?
Andy.
You know, and it's nice to chat to you beforehand as well. And you know, the history of, well, all of us, if you like, is just something else. And this drag racing world is just
it is pretty cool. It is good. It turns into your life basically. That's how. But then when you're doing what we do, it does take over your life. That's like I say, we're very lucky. I wouldn't be able to do it on my own. I'm lucky enough to have some amazing sponsors.
Yeah.
If I can mention them, that'd be
all
fantastic.
of them, absolutely.
Yeah,
all
I mean,
of
like
them.
Cool Flow, Scott Carter and his family have helped us out no end. Fast Tech Race Engineering, Lighter Steer. Then I've also got Gaultry Engineering, obviously TSR Engine Conversions, one of my companies that helps fund it all as well. I've been really, really lucky as well from help from America. We've done and gone racing, and then I've got a new sponsor that's come on board with us, which is Westwood Cylinder Liners. Duncan's been amazing, helped us out. Without him this year we probably wouldn't be out. Pro Race Engineering, they do some bits for us. Stacey's a good guy. So yeah, it's one of them ones where you can't do it on your own. You need financial help, and that, you know, the way it is now, there isn't much about things get tightened up. But yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for another season.
Absolutely.
For these guys.
You see, back in the day, you had Budweiser, you had all them. They're not there anymore.
No. The big commercial, they don't really see it. They don't really get involved in it. Unfortunately, it's a thing where, you know, if it was advertised better, more on the TV out there, but we have got the internet now. You know, the podcast at Santa Pod, amazing, best thing that ever happened. That, you know, you go on there and there's literally thousands of people watching it. Which brings it to the masses.
And then the interest builds, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. It's just the commercial side of it, which is always lacked, really.
And that's where Santa Pod is sort of coming into its own. It has been over the last many years, is to increase the corporate hospitality and everything else.
I mean, at the end of the day, we've got one track. It's the best track in Europe. It's just down the road for us, so it's handy for us. They look after us. You know, we've got to look after them. We need to bring more people to the track, get more people through the gates, and Nitro does that. That puts bums on seats, basically.
Definitely,
So it's all kind of swings and roundabouts on that side of it. So
fantastic. Andrew, thank you very much.
No problems at all, buddy. It's nice meeting you. And like I say,
we'll catch up.
We'll catch up in the.
We'll see you this year, and we'll see you in the pit set. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.